All right, so you made it back. This is step number 3 on setting up the Dillon 650 tool head. And what you're going to need is your powder hopper and die. So that's basically what this looks like. You're going to have 2 nuts here that you're going to want to remove. And what that's going to do is free the die from the powder hopper so you can get that put in the machine. It's just a little bracket that pops up. The die should pull away. We'll set the hopper to the side, and the powder hopper goes into station number 2, where also the primers are going to be set right before the powder hopper dumps its load. Also, I'm going to have the funnel assembly, which is just this little steel thing. Nice smooth end that goes down. It's also going to do the case belling right here. You can see that, how it kind of flares out. That's going to do your belling. So that's the part we're going to basically need to adjust. So we'll run this down, and we're going to put the powder hopper back on, same way it came off. And you do want, move this guy out of the way. You're going to want these brass bits pointed towards you or towards the front of the machine. Get these screwed on. Come on back over here, buddy. You don't want to tighten these completely because you're going to need to spin that die, perhaps. So just leave them loose, but not so loose that the powder hopper comes off. All right, so the next thing you need to do here on this brass linkage, you want to line up these 2 holes, this one and this one, and you're going to run the linkage in so it's facing like this, so that little S shape kind of works its way in just like that. And then, let me get the camera pointed down here, you're going to want to pull down and then get this white bushing pushed up into there. And then what you're going to need to do eventually is making sure that this rod is straight up and down. We're going to do that after we make sure that everything's working on the die. But basically you're going to want tension on this spring, because what that spring does is it returns the brass linkage on the powder measure to its closed position, so you don't dump too much powder and it doesn't hang open. Let me get the camera put back and we'll continue on. All right, so what we need to do is take the case that we just were working with, that we already resized and deprimed. I'm going to pop it in the machine. I'm going to roll it over to station number 2. And we're going to run this in just for stability here, just to see where we're at. We'll run it back up in there. And basically what you're looking for is the powder measure to stop right about the same time as the shell plate hits the top of the stroke. That will assure that all the powder is going to get dumped, as well as a decent bell of the case. And it looks like to me the case didn't get belled at all whatsoever. So what we want to do is turn down the die. So we're going to loosen this nut and then just spin the die. We'll go a couple turns. And then tighten that nut a little bit and repeat the process. And now we have a very faint bell on the case. You can kind of see that. I mean, it's very faint, but it's definitely belled. Let me grab a bullet and we'll set it on there so you can kind of see what it looks like. All right, so I have a 110 or 115 grain bullet rather. And we're just going to set it on here. You can see how it kind of accepts it. If you look carefully, you can tell how the top of the case flares a little bit away from that. That's about what you need. You don't need excessive belling. That'll just wear out your brass faster than necessary. So we're going to put this same case back in the machine, run it back to station number 2, run it up in here, and making sure that the linkage is straight up and down. We're going to tighten that nut. And just a little dab will do you, like I said. All right, so the last thing we want to do is make sure that the linkage is set up correctly. So what we want to do, you can see there's some slack in here. We also need to tighten these nuts completely. All right, so we have this linkage, and you can see it's kind of sloppy. What we want to do is just pull down on the bar itself. You can see this is all loose right here. What we really want to see is this tightened up so that there's tension on this spring right here. All right, so it's all tightened up. Give it one extra half turn just so it looks pretty. And what you want is at the top of the stroke, this spring should compress just a little bit. So that's what we're looking for. That's going to make sure that the powder hopper closes when we need it to. All right, so we made it through station number 2. Thanks for watching. You guys still interested in this? Look forward to number 3. And as always, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that sub button and stick around.